The situation in Gaza remains dire. On the other hand, in Israel, thousands have taken to the streets to protest. They're asking for the administration to be changed there. What do you reckon will be the repercussions of this mounting pressure? Because so far we see that Israel is continuing with its unrelenting offensive in Gaza.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what you're going to continue to see. Benjamin Netanyahu appears to have just locked his mind into he's going down the military path, and he is going to push back on any pressure from the White House, from anywhere else in like the Middle East or any of the other Arab regimes, and even at home. And certainly there's been a lot of protests here, and the numbers are pretty big, but he also has substantial support. And according to most polls, he has the support of more than 50% of the population. And as long as he has that, and as long as he holds the keys in the government, I think he's going to keep going.
All right, sir. But that being said, we're seeing protests not just in Israel. We've seen protests elsewhere beyond the boundaries of Israel and Gaza as well. We're also seeing frustration from the United States. Earlier, there was hope that there may be a truce deal before the beginning of Ramadan. That's not in the offing anymore. So how do you see the situation panning out going further? Because the support of its allies, that seems to be waning. There seems to be frustration on that front as well.
Yeah, there is. And I've actually been warning about that on your network here from the beginning, that's the big risk that Netanyahu faces if he keeps going down this path, that if he ever loses the support of the West, then he's going to lose support that he needs to even continue this war. And up to this point, he has resisted all of it and has continued to go on. He's now poised at that issue with Rafah there, which is the last, what he claims is a stronghold where there's still 4 battalions of Hamas fighters. We'll see how that works out. But if he keeps going down this path, I think that you're going to see, if he actually starts the Hamas operation into the Rafah area and the casualties start spiking again, then I think you're going to see protests around the world really explode. And then even the President Biden may be forced to actually maybe even finally curtail some support if they don't stop this massacre. And we'll see if that's going to happen. It hadn't so far, but if the pressure gets high enough, it could.
Right, sir, absolutely. Speaking of Rafah, in fact, let's talk about the situation there. We've seen it was the last area where Israel hadn't entered. That's not the case anymore. Of course, it's an overpopulated area. In all of Gaza, we've seen most of the population has been displaced. Entire colonies have been reduced to rubble. The point here being that even though Israel insists that its fight is against Hamas militants, the death and destruction, that is mounting. So this is going to be a difficult balancing act for Israel. It has been right from the beginning. What do you think Israel should do to change its strategy, perhaps on ground?
Well, I mean, there's wholesale changes that should be done because, as you correctly point out, if they're continuing on with what they have done up to this point, it is undermining security for Israel. It is not helping it out. Even if they allegedly killed tens of thousands of Hamas fighters, which they claim to have done, that's not doing anything to provide security because so many more tens of thousands of women and children especially have also been killed because of their literally not even trying to protect the civilian population up to this point. And that creates exceptional levels of hatred and anger among those people who are surviving. And even if Hamas is gone, they're building even more insecurity for themselves going forward. So the first thing they need to do is stop this kind of operation and use a targeted intelligence-driven operations like the United States uses when we've been in these wars, where you protect the population as the primary course and then have targeted to go after specific enemy targets. That takes a lot longer, but it's the only way you can do it to have a shot at holding the population and helping them so that when this is over, they don't hate you even more than they did before.